Welcome to this episode of Shonen Flop, where we talk about manga and Shonen Jump that didn't make it big. I'm David.
I'm Jordan.
Next week, we'll be covering Bo's Beats. If you'd like to read along with us, be sure to join our discussion in the Discord and submit your 6-word summary.
Bo's Beats by Dre.
Yeah, you can find links to the Discord in our episode description and our website, shonenflop.com. But this week, we're talking about Donten Prism Solar Car, you know, the little DPSC, as it's known in the Solar Car community. And we are joined by our guest, Blerd. Blerd, thank you so much for joining us today. Do you mind telling the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm a YouTuber and content creator, artist, and I guess soon to be writer of things, maybe.
Whoa.
But I largely just spend most of my days talking about comic books and comic book related things in the industry, and just being a dude, as unproblematic as humanly possible.
I can relate to that.
I legitimately thought you were about to say soon to be father, and you're just announcing you're having a child on this arbitrary podcast. You're like, hey, I really need to make sure people listen to this episode of your podcast. It'd be great for our numbers, to be honest.
It's like, look, I just had to announce I gets ass. Okay, that's
Hell yeah.
I've been talking to my wife about names for our baby, which we don't have. I'm very, very close to getting banned because I suggested Lucy, which, as you guys all know, Lucy is, of course, short for Lucifer.
Yeah.
So she wasn't a fan of naming our baby Lucifer. And my latest one was naming our kid Andy Wayne, which actually got pretty far. And then she realized, wait, that means that if their last name, so her last name is Wax, so their name would have been Wax and Wayne.
Oh.
So she got pretty far before she realized that one. So I don't think I'm allowed to suggest babies' names anymore.
I also would forbid you from suggesting baby names.
Yeah.
So
I still think Hyperion is a perfectly fine name for a child.
okay, actually, I would hear you out about that
Right?
one.
It's a great name.
I could rock with that.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, Blerd, I love all of your comic book content. So I would say, what out of the two big movies coming out this summer, Superman and Fantastic Four, which one are you more excited about?
Oh man, that is difficult because I actually am really psyched out for both of them. But I will say, just because of the fact that I guess kind of based on the things we've seen, I'm a little bit more interested in Superman just because I'm the least sure about what I'm going to see.
Mm-hmm.
So so Superman is like it kind of edges out just a little bit, not by a whole lot.
So this will be their fourth attempt at a theatrically released Fantastic Four movie. I knew they had that one that was never released.
And for Superman 2, Jordan.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, technically, yeah.
This is our third release. There's the unreleased Fantastic Four, but this is the fourth Superman reboot.
Yeah. You count the right,
yeah.
It is actually.
They can't. God.
Yeah, Christopher Reeve's Superman Returns, the Zack Snyder Superman, now this one.
Yep.
They nailed it really hard the first and second times, and then they've just been struggling ever since.
Yeah. God.
It's been rough. I just always tell people that, I have fond memories of Superman in terms like the older ones. Superman 3 with Richard Pryor, inexplicably for no reason whatsoever, and the Superman 4, which is just bad.
Like Nuclear Man? Is that
with
the one
Nuclear
with that?
Man. Yeah. As a kid, loved both of those movies. As an adult, I don't know why anyone let me watch them.
I loved Batman and Robin, so I feel you as a little kid. Yeah.
But yeah, it's if you go back and look at a lot of it, Superman, Fantastic Four, they both had some pretty rough goes. I don't think Fantastic Four has really netted anything close to or even respectable of a good movie. So as far as basically the sky is the limit as far as you literally just have to step over a broomstick to be good.
Yeah.
In this regard.
We're looking for fine.
Yeah.
We're looking for okay.
That is our quest on this show.
Yeah. That's
And on that note, shall we talk this series?
Yeah.
All right. I also want to give a big thank you to Portal Man for recommending you as a guest. So shout out to them.
Oh, so nice of them.
Jordan, take it away.
All right, so this is Donten Prism Solar Car. According to Tucker, the word Donten, which is the only non-English word in the title, of course, means cloudy weather, which, that probably means something, because solar.
What a massive spoiler to the last arc of the series.
Right? I'm glad I don't speak Japanese.
Well, I haven't seen cloudy weather yet. Whoa, there it is.
Yeah, so I guess this is Cloudy Prism Solar Car. Okay. Yeah, that's a metaphor used in this manga, or attempted to be used in this manga. It was written by Yasuo Odagaki. Notably, they were an assistant for Akira Oze of Natsuko's Saike fame. Sure. And Osamu Yamamoto of Donguri no Le fame. That feel when no Le fame.
Fuck off, Jordan.
Other works include Ippei, 1993-1997, 18 volumes of manga action. All right, decent hit. Moonlight Mile, all caps. That's important. 2000 to 2011. And then it was revived in 2021. It's still going. 24 plus volumes in Big Comic Superior / Pixiv. Big Comic Superior. That's a powerful name. But yeah, that sounds like it's a pretty big hit if it was big enough to be revived. Also, a lot of Mobile Suit Gundam and front mission stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Still, like, two of them, Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt and Mobile Suit Thunderbolt Gaiden, are still going. I'm sorry, Gaiden. How can I do this? I played Ninja Gaiden many times. I am so ashamed of myself. Also, Get Truth Taio no Kiba Dogram. From
That sounded like Huttese, very briefly.
Yeah. From 2021 to present, it's only 3 volumes in E-Big Comic 4. And Candy Box Creations started in 2024. That's still going. Not even a volume yet. In Big Comic Originals. So a lot of big comics this guy's got.
Big comic mood.
Wow. But, you know, who's significantly more notable is the artist.
Yeah, little known guy.
The little-known guy, Yusuke Murata, mainly known for being an assistant, of course. Sure. Takeshi Obata on Hikaru no Go, of course, famous for being on this show 3 fucking times, including working on Cyborg Grandpa G, Ralgrad, which is one of the worst things we've read on the show, and
one of the most horniest things.
the worst thing that we have read on the show, School Judgment.
Yeah, pedophile middle school.
It's a manga where the first chapter is about it's like Phoenix Wright in middle school, and then the second chapter is about how sexy this 12-year-old is.
Oh no.
It just evolves. Yeah, that's the only episode we've done where we couldn't finish the manga.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was not good.
We stopped right before the beach episode. But anyway, also was an assistant for Akatsugu Mitsumoto on Ga-Ro, and Kyosuke Usuta of Sexy Commando Gaiden.
Jeez.
What?
And Pyu Tofuku Jaguar on Bushizawa Receive. Now, notable is that this guy has had, wow, now this is a fucking murderer's row. Yoshiyuki Nishi of Bokusan, that's an episode. Also one of the worst things we've ever read.
Yeah.
Yuichi Itakura on Hands, that's hand apostrophe S. Also one of the worst things we've read. Eiji Masuda of My Monster Secret, don't know what that is. Masaru Miyakawa on Stars or Standers, one of the most boring things we've ever read on the show. And Ryosuke Takeuchi also on Standers. Yukinori Natsukawa Gucci. Hey, I did it. Yuki Nakashima from Dragon Quest. Sora of the Azure Sky. And Daisuke Oikawa of Arata Primal. All these guys worked on this guy's most famous work. The masterpiece. Ice Shield 21,
yeah.
baby. Yeah!
Yeah.
The best sports manga. Fucking fight me.
Maxie gonna break in your house and drop a bunch of slam dunk volumes in your house.
Manga like on my head, just brushing me.
Just like in SWAT.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Also worked on Hatapi Manga Laboratory R, sure. And another little known series called One Punch Man.
No one's ever heard of it.
Never heard of it.
No one's ever heard of it, you know. Written by a guy named, this guy isn't serious. His name's just One. Like, what the fuck? Also produced a series called Manga Artist Late Night Snack Laboratory. Delicious in 2016. But yeah, we're not talking about that shit. We're talking about Donten Prism Solar Car, ran in Jump Square, ran from September 4th, 2010 to June 4th, 2011. It replaced Mayoi Neko Overrun by Kentaro Yabuki and Tomohiro Matsu. 2 volumes. It was discontinued, according to MaxiB, for mysterious reasons.
Oh.
So you not even canceled? It's not even 2 volumes. Oh, it was canceled. Specifically, it mysteriously ended. Interesting.
Somebody slept with somebody's wife. That's what happened. That's how I believe it to be.
You know what? That's fair.
Yeah. The series that replaced Donten Prism was Hanimero by Shiori Furukawa. 3 volumes. That's a flop. Series started at the same time as it was To Love Ru Darkness by Kentaro Yabuki and Saki Hasemi. 18 volumes. Mega hit. Is that different from To Love Ru, or is that the same thing? Is that in the same series? I don't care.
Yeah.
Also started at the same time as it was Ex-Samurai. That's not Ex-Samurai, that's Ex-Samurai by all capitals Exile and Yoichi Amano. 2 volumes flop, but it's part of a big media mix project, so no one gave a shit. But we're not talking about any of that shit. As I said earlier, we're talking about Donten Prism Solar Car.
Yeah.
9 chapters, 2 volumes. The really interesting, really heavy, sure plot. Yeah. Donten Prism Solar Car. Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
When he was a young kid, Shota's dad died in a car accident, creating a horrible phobia of cars and sending him and his mom into poverty. Flash forward to his early 20s, and Shota is living in a warehouse owned by his uncle, who also employs him as a metal worker. He's a bitter guy whose only solace comes in the form of his bike, his dog, and cigarettes. He's grown. When returning home one day, he discovers a bunch of college kids at his warehouse unloading a really weird-looking car. Those kids, led by a girl named Junko, are from the College of Engineering, and Shota's uncle has let them use the warehouse to work on their project, a solar car. Shota confronts his uncle, who tells him that he volunteered Shota to work on the car without his knowledge, and is cutting his pay in half.
I would love it for him.
The economy.
Most reasonable boomer.
Yeah, his uncle was basically like, I mean, it was either that or firing you, Shota. I don't know, man.
Sorry, big dog.
No. Shota calls his mom, who has to work at an inn, and she tells him that she knows his bullshit, and it sucks because he was saving up for college too. Yeah, hey, don't get too angry about it. Shota angrily bikes home and angrily tells the students he's not going to help them because, unlike them, he's stuck trying to pull himself up by his bootstraps while they get to have rich parents and go to college.
No, look at me. I can go to college. That's basically Shota.
Trust me, he'll regret it later.
Yeah.
Junko tells him he can't stop them and forces him to take a bag of snacks. Shota then goes upstairs and angrily drinks soda. Was it Popcorn George?
Jordan.
Popcorn Jordan.
I guess I'm George now.
Yeah.
You're George now for the rest of the show.
There you go.
Sorry.
I love it.
Please no. Oh. Their teacher, Professor Psyche, visits Shota at the factory and says that if he helps them, then Psyche will teach him. Shota says he can't afford to go to college, but Psyche says that they have scholarships and he can work at the school. Shota apparently didn't know that scholarships or work study existed, so I guess he doesn't have to worry about money after all. Conflict resolved.
Yeah, it's great. This series just resolved a lot of its conflicts really quickly.
Yeah.
It's like, don't worry about it.
It's okay, actually. Shota comes home to see the kids working on their car with their shoddy workmanship resulting in it crashing into his bike. They come by the next day to see that he fixed the solar car using his bike's frame, and he's now fully on the team. Shota starts crushing on Junko and discovers that everyone else in the group was also crushing on Junko, and they were all rejected. I mean, apparently it's like, they're like, yeah, she's like the only girl at engineering school.
Yeah, that's the story.
Great.
I knew that all too well when I went to an
Cool.
engineering school.
I went to an art school, so it was the opposite. Shota also discovers that Junko wants to build the solar car because her dad designed it and even wrote a manual on it. He was gonna race it too, but had to stop teaching at the school for some mysterious reason. Shota then gets a tour around the university by Junko. She even gives him a bike, so conflict resolved there. Before he ends up in Professor Psyche's office and sees a picture of Junko's dad, who he realizes, holy shit, is the one that caused the accident that killed his dad? What?
What were the odds of that being the
No
plot?
way!
No way.
Bum, bum, bum. Junko hears them talking about it and says that she feels responsible because she got car sick, which distracted her father. Popcorn David.
Shota stops coming home.
Shota.
Shota stops coming home.
Shota.
Shota, don't tell, stops coming home for a bit and stays with his coworker / smoking buddy, Macan, who is a fucking bro.
Machan.
No, that's a Pokemon. Who is a fucking bro while he studies for the entrance exam, which is now happening, I guess. Shota. Why do I keep adding an N to his name? Shota passes. Yay. He goes home to discover that Junko fucked up welding and the warehouse is on fire because it's always a woman's fault because this artist has no history of issues with female depiction in his material.
I definitely noticed that it caught fire when a spark landed on her expensive fuzzy jacket,
Yeah.
by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Shota saves the solar car, and Machan says that he'll take responsibility because he's a fucking bro.
You know what? He's also a champ.
Yeah,
so
it's
you can
Machan
call
the
him
champ.
that.
The kids are able to get the car, now called the Prism Go, ready, and the 2-day race starts, but it's raining, meaning they'll have to drive really slow for hours and hours because this author just absolutely loves high-stakes tension racing.
Oh, man. Oh, man. It's so gripping. I'm on the edge of my fucking seat as these slow fucking cars try really, really hard not to fucking slip on the water.
Oh no, their suspension broke, but another team gives them a new one. Conflict resolved. The next day, they have to start from a big deficit. And again, it's fucking raining, so they have to go really slow. The driver of the Prism Go gets heat stroke because apparently it's extremely hot in the cockpit. So Shota takes over. Luckily, the two cars in front of the Prism Go miraculously run out of battery at the same time, and they have to recharge. So Shota has time to slowly cut down the lead until finally, right before it's over, the rain stops and they can finally speed up in the race. Shota wins. Yay. That's it. Everyone is forgiven. Conflict resolved. None of these plot threads are really touched upon. It just ends. I'm starting to think Jordan didn't like the series as much as I did.
I mean, the thing is, I did like the we'll get into it. It's
Read the plot description sounds terrible, but I actually enjoyed reading this.
I liked this series, kind of, actually. I did. I'm more frustrated that it could have been better. It's we'll talk about it, but
if only there was a section about that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to say too much more about that, but yeah, we'll talk about it.
Anyway. Blerd, can you tell us about the main character of the series?
Okay, so, and I always struggle with this name, because I've heard it pronounced so many different ways.
Canada.
Is it Oh, well, okay,
no,
so,
it's not. It's Kaneda.
Okay. Well, it's because I grew up with it being Kaneda, and then later it was no, it's Canada. And I was I don't know about all that. But I'm not calling him the upper half of, the North American, continent. I'm not doing that.
The 51st state?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, sure.
It's just it's ours. Don't think about it. Don't think too hard about it.
No.
But Kaneda is he's a strange character, but I empathize with him on so many levels because he's he hates cars. He's all my homies hate cars, and I kind of get down with that. Yeah, fuck them. Yeah, and you know what? I think personally he's onto something because cars are terrible.
Yeah,
but he's just a strange and unusual kid because he's angry and has a lot of pent up frustration, and he hasn't quite figured out his shit. And at the same time, sometimes is eerily nice out of nowhere.
Yeah,
because cute girl. Yeah,
it's look, on one level that's also relatable, but
yes.
On the other hand, it does seem like he's really angry and then is just not angry.
Yeah. He gets over it very quickly too.
That's the thing. If he was angrier throughout the series, I would have understood it more. There is a level of irrationality to it. It's kind of logically he should forgive them, but that's where the drama comes from. The emotions are so powerful that he can't, except he does, and it's he's a little bit of a mess of a character.
But we'll get into that once we dive into that section. But Jordan, do you want to talk about the second most important character in the series?
Yeah, so this is Yazaki Junko. So she is a girl. And David, you want to tell me about the next character? I'm kidding. No, she is.
She killed Kaneda's father.
Yeah, she killed Canada. She killed the father of Canada.
Yeah.
Who is like, of course, fucking shit. Who? William Shatner.
Okay, sure.
I'm just trying to think of a famous Canadian. That's the first that popped into my head. Kim Mitchell. There you go. That's an obscure reference.
Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Wayne Gretzky is actually the father of Canada. Yeah.
I swear everyone talks about him like he's dead.
I know, right?
I genuinely thought he was dead for a very long time.
It's surprising.
I was actually just thinking, damn, when did he die? I was like, oh, wow, that was a while ago.
No, he's still fucking alive for some reason.
Still alive. Yeah, so Junko, her main motive is to build a solar car because she feels bad about something her dad did and it was her dad's dream. That's the main reason she wants to make a solar car. That's cool. Great. But yeah, and they're connected because she distracted her father and that resulted in Shota's dad dying. But, come on, she was like a 5-year-old, and her dad should be better at driving where that doesn't fucking happen. So it's really her dad's fault, of course. But yeah, no, I mean, she's pretty, and that's why people join her crew, apparently, which that's great. Thanks, author. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Could have been so much cooler, man. It's like, all right, now you want to tell us about Professor Psyche Davis?
He's the school advisor. He's pretty chill. I swear to God that the author swaps him with Machamp in some scenes. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is Machamp, but wasn't he just talking to Sayaki? Like, I thought he was staying with Sayaki because they have that whole interaction with him and his wife, but then he's living with Machamp. I genuinely thought it was like a joke he could turn into a second person, but that didn't make sense with the tone of the series, and I was super fucking confused.
So I was also confused, but after rereading it a couple times, I think what that was trying to say was he was living with Machan, but he was going to Professor Psyche's to be tutored and prepare for the exam. It wasn't well communicated though, but I think that's what it was trying to say.
I genuinely was like, does the offer just change his design sometimes?
No, it was genuinely confusing. Like,
he just wants to help these kids.
Because he was also poor. Like Kaneda.
Yeah, you know who else has driven a car? I have.
Cool. Good, me too.
All right. And you know who else has feedback about this series? I do as well.
Me?
So let's get into it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
So Jordan, I can definitely sense a little bit of the negative in your plot summary. So why don't you tell us really what were some issues you had with this?
David, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, this is oof.
Yeah.
Like, when we get to what it did well, I'll have a lot to say, but it's frustrating because this series could have been so much more. I never see a series that tries to approach real world topics like this. I never see a series that tries to actually address economic woes like this, real human tragedy that actually happens. You have this cool potential metaphor for the solar car. You have Kaneda. Kaneda. You have Shota having genuine negative feelings, but the author's well, there's no reason for him to really feel that, so I guess he just doesn't. Cool.
Yeah.
I guess it's over. It's he gets over it really fast. And
I was like, if you're gonna get him over this fast, you should have just had that in the first chapter.
He should have just been a nice guy. Just
from the jump.
I don't know. It's just this. It just starts a potentially interesting conflict and then ends it.
Yeah, because we talked about in the first chapter where it was he was very aggressively against the plot of this manga, which is not sustainable. But then this year, the offer kind of is oh yeah, this isn't sustainable. Let me abandon it as fast as I physically can.
Yeah.
I needed for him to still be kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
But he just turns into this really nice, soft-spoken guy. Almost immediately. He immediately matures 10 years mentally.
Man, I feel like this manga, it's not very clear the passage of time, because I feel like there was a lot of shorthand I had to make up in my head for how much time was passing between each chapter and also within the same chapter, because it was he was jumping too much from one extreme to the next, and it just felt like it was all because cheeks. This is why I'm changing my... My entire worldview, everything that I feel, my entire personality, why I hate cars. Well, like even that specifically, the whole I hate cars thing. He gets over that really quick.
That's what I mean. Like, what? Why even have that?
It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, there's a girl that's probably gonna like put her mouth on my junk. I guess you know what?
Jesus
I'm over it.
Hey, they're in college, David. This is one of the few series we've read
That's true.
where it's like everyone's legal.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But, like, speaking of that, though, man, it really sucks that the only girl people joined her group because she's pretty.
Yeah.
And why does she want to build a car? Because her dad wanted to build a car. Like, god damn it, man.
She has no agency. She has no agency
Yeah.
whatsoever.
It's like there was a Dropout. There was like, Dropout has that show Make Some Noise, and like one of the performers, Caitlin Riley, was actually like her prompt. It's an improv show. Her prompt was like a female character in a sci-fi show written by a man.
Oh yeah.
And her whole thing, she walks in and she's just like talking about how, I'm here because my dad was a famous scientist and I have to follow in his footsteps. And it's like, God damn it. God damn it. It's true. It's like, oh, it can't just be she's smart and she wants to make a solar car. It's she's fulfilling her father's dream.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
And on that note of engineering, they actually talk very, very little about the actual science, which I thought was the point of this series.
Yeah.
Do we even explain how solar panels work?
No.
I think like they touch on it for like all of one panel. And I guess that's kind of what irritated me the most about this is because usually when I read a manga that has like a very specific theme, like, it doesn't matter if it's, we'll use Initial D as an example. Like I learned a lot about cars, maybe more than I care to know, in just that alone. When it came to like volleyball, I learned way more about volleyball than I ever wanted to know from stuff like Haikyuu or like, soccer, from various, like Blue Lock or whatever. But like in this, I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to learn something about solar cars.
Yeah.
Nope.
They had a science consultant. What the fuck was the science consultant doing?
They did.
I wondered because I feel like most manga that try and tackle stuff like this, they usually spend a lot of time like going, hey, here's all this gratuitous knowledge that we, pulled together from, studying to write this, the series. And none of it comes up. I almost want to say they just bullshitted their way through.
They did.
Yeah.
They clearly didn't like actually give a shit. Like these were 45-page chapters. They had room for like 1 or 2 pages of exposition explaining the science behind a part of the car.
Yes.
Every chapter they could have very easily done that because they're like, oh, these panels are more efficient. Why don't you just, hey, here's an organic way to say here in layman terms is why this panel is better than the one that they had.
Artist here is so good. He is able to communicate so much without word bubbles, which gives you like a lot of additional room to have explanations like that. But it's not used.
He has transition panels that like you never see. Like, they just are like, here's a dog barking to show that the scene is over, which most manga do not have room for that.
Yeah,
no.
But also, like, can we just talk about how lame that race is?
Yeah. Oh my god. Why would you possibly think that's a good idea for the climax?
Why would you do that?
I'll be brutally honest with about the progression of this, like getting up to the race. I had a very difficult time even getting to it until like there was like I think 2 or 3 chapters like before the race. I was like, okay, this is actually going somewhere now. Okay, I'm finally starting to enjoy this. Mind you, that was after 4 or 5 chapters of having read this. And then when I got to the race, I was just like, nah. Okay, all right. No, since y'all don't care, I don't care either.
Like, come on. Like, oh, the race, it's unbelievably long. 8 hours split up between 2 days, and you're having it rain? Like, what the fuck? Like, why are you doing
We can talk about that where it could have gone.
But it's also like, it's like, no, what you should do is have it like not rain, have it rain like once.
So stupid.
But it's just like, instead, the entire race they're going as slow as fuck. Like,
You're like, oh, they went 5 miles an hour. That's going to really catch them at the hour 3 of this race.
Oh my god.
it's like an unironic version of like the snail race from that SpongeBob episode.
Yeah.
Oh god.
And then also, what the fuck was that ending? Nothing got really resolved. It just ended.
No.
No, but yeah, it just ended.
Also, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way that the only reason why he wins the race is
They just run out of battery.
it's not
literally
because,
an act of God.
yeah, it's like, okay, the guys who were in front, their cars literally just stopped working. Like they're like, and it's like, oh, well, this is like, I don't know. It felt so contrived that like, and it feels like a really cheap victory. Like I wouldn't even be proud of that.
Yeah.
Like I would not be proud of that. Like, why is everybody jumping up and down and cheering? You were losing, objectively losing. Like by any metric, you should have come in last.
Yeah.
The only reason why they're able to keep going is because one of the other teams was like really nice and gave them a spare
And that was
part.
like their main rival too.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, so no conflict between the other teams in this competition either.
There are like 10 people do this sport. We really need to make people keep playing it.
Right.
At least they kind of hand wave why they're really nice, because they're like, if you drop out because no one helped you out, we need people to participate in the sport.
I wouldn't have a problem with it, except I'm just so desperate for conflict in this fucking series.
Cars are bad, Jordan. But you know what is good? Parts of this manga. So let's get into what it did well. I'll kick things off. So yeah, as we talk about, art is fantastic. This guy is a pro.
Amazing.
One of the most impressive
beautiful
things I saw was when Junko bows, and they actually don't do the thing where there's like an after image of her showing the motion. They just have her hair like trailing behind her, which clearly shows she just moved in a really expressive way that I feel like haven't used that technique. But I'm like, this guy has made a lot of manga to be able to think of something like that. And that just shows the composition. Also, Junko doesn't have a very sexualized design. I know like she is the central female focus, but in terms of how she is drawn, like how we talked about with, what was it? What was the doctor one? Rash, where she is drawn like a normal looking human being, which really at least benefits the whole she is the female focal point, where she's not some sort of like bimbo wearing, fucking cutoffs and everything, just being a sexualized object throughout the series, which we know based on One Punch Man, this Oliver absolutely will draw giant bazongas on women if he wants to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, she's just a pretty girl.
Yeah, but she looks like a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, similarly, another thing that this guy does, which is something that I've only seen in the only things I can think of where I've seen this are Ruri Dragon and Blood on the Tracks, which is when the sun is shining down, he lightens up the shade, like the dark parts of their hair and stuff like that. Like he actually pays attention to how the light is hitting these characters. Like this guy's really good. And the way the paneling is often amazing, like so interesting. And so like there's one panel that has like many panels inside of it.
He was like thinking about something, and I thought that was a very creative technique.
Yeah, and there are like montages. Like there are a lot of pages in this series with zero dialogue boxes, and you don't need them because the artist is so good at telling a story visually. The author was able to like rely on the artist here, which is why the series, when it works, because the artist saves the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Like the clouds, like the sky, which is like an important metaphor for this series, obviously from the title, is gorgeous. It's beautiful. There are these panels I was kind of blown away by where they'll rush into like a bus, and the inside of the bus is actually like described very well.
Yeah.
Yes.
All the details are drawn well.
The little moments, though, are just so well done.
The art's really objectively the best thing about this book. It's like, if I spent any extra time reading it, it was because I was always going back and kind of looking at some of the techniques that were used. The shadowing and shading techniques, I think, are kind of goated in this book.
Yes.
Like, I literally sat down, like, while I was reading it, I was like, kind of had my little sketch pad next to me. I was like, ooh, I want to kind of, try doing, maybe. I never thought about trying it this way or doing something that way. Like, it's the most beautiful disaster and hot mess of a book I think I've probably read in some time, but I also feel like this story doesn't take any advantage of it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes, I guess makes the art stick out more, because there are a lot of panels where there's nothing. There's no dialogue. There's no exposition. The artist kind of does I think, honestly, they should have just made this a silent,
textless.
Completely textless manga, because I think maybe it actually might have been better for it.
I think that's a great idea. I also do feel like I like this fact that they all do feel like people, there's like a sense of scrappiness, at least at the start, where it's kind of like they want to beg, borrow, and steal to get the parts of their car, which I know they didn't explore fully, but it was like a fun element where it really did feel like a bunch of college students just trying to do a project in their free time,
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone was nice. Even when people had like moments where they could have been, kind of an asshole about something, like people were like genuinely pleasant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a nice change in what is normally supposed to be like a competition story.
Yeah. It is very low stakes, and it feels like it.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword. Like, everyone is likable, which is both a positive and a negative for the series. It's also, as I said, really interesting to see a genuine, realistic conflict depicted, like an economic problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how the idea of Shota having this trauma, this issue where like a car breaking will send him into like a PTSD flashback or something, you know? I mean, he gets over it really quickly,
Yeah,
but
he
like,
does.
still. And now he has to work on a car. That's a really interesting conflict, which, is resolved very quickly. But, again, like there are a lot of really interesting setups here. I think that like Junko's dad still clearly being really fucked up from it is also like really like notable, like interesting.
Yeah. And then, Blerd, is there anything you feel positive you haven't had a chance to say yet?
As far as like the main character goes, I don't think it served the plot particularly well. I did like that for once there's a main character who is not necessarily automatically good.
Yeah.
At everything that he does, like that was actually kind of refreshing. Just the idea that this is a guy who, he's average at best. In the midst of people who, quite literally, he's on a team with people who kind of know what they're doing. And he's not like, I've never touched any of this stuff before, and yet now I am automatically good at and maybe even better than everybody else that's around me that's been studying this shit for 5 ever. I actually thought I'm glad that they didn't go that route with, like, oh yeah, no, he's just automatically good. Yeah, he doesn't drive cars, but you know what? The guy's like crazy good at it. Like, no, they don't do that. And that's shonen manga could do with a lot more like this as opposed to what we normally get.
They bring him in because he's really good at welding.
And they really show why they needed him.
He's genuinely good at welding, and they're genuinely bad at welding.
Yeah, and they start fires.
I was gonna say, not wearing the proper clothing while doing welding.
Yeah.
I also want to say that this is actually a real treat where this didn't feel like 20-page chapters that were stretched out to 45. It really felt like it told like a full story in 45 pages.
Yeah.
So even though the overall series pacing, I think the chapter by chapter pacing was actually done competently. And so I know though we are very excited about it. So why don't we get
also I do want to say one more positive. That's a good dog.
That is a good dog. That dog saved lives.
That dog saved lives.
Almost as good a dog as Ravioli.
That's not a fair comparison.
Yeah, Ravioli's the best dog.
Yeah, it's not fair. That's what exactly. That dog's like, yo, the home is on fire, and he's like, shit.
Your shit's on fire, yo.
The roof is on fire, and we do need some water, and we shouldn't let that motherfucker burn.
Okay. But we do, in the interest of time, we do need to actually talk about where it could have gone, because I think we have a lot to say in that section. So let's get to it. So Blerd, I know you started alluding to it. What would you say are the main things you would have revised about the series to have potentially made it more successful?
Oh man, I think that we were just talking about how it didn't feel like a book that was like stretched out.
Yeah,
and I feel like I agreed with that almost, except for like maybe not at first. I thought like, man, the first couple of chapters kind of just dragged a little bit. I do wish that maybe they're using that extra panel, like using those 44, 45 some odd pages. I do kind of wish that they maybe would have let the art tell a little bit more of that kind of early exposition that or some of those moments, like, which it's technically doing, but I felt like sometimes when the dialogue came in, the whole thing would just kind of slow down for me, like in ways that I don't think actually served the series well, because sometimes I felt like there were certain characters that when they did speak didn't have a whole heap of a lot to say. Those parts are where it felt like they were just we're just saying something because I kind of feel like we got to at this particular point. And the whole Junko thing, we kind of talked about with how she's basically just kind of an avatar for her father's misfortunes and whatnot. I think the series would have been better served by just having her stand on her own. Like like she could have just been the smart girl who just so happens to want to build a solar car, and maybe not drive it home too hard that she's the only girl and the only way we joined is because she's hot. Like, but I think while her depiction outside of that is good, for the most part, I feel like I always feel bad when I read a story, and I feel like the women in the story are underserved.
I kind of feel like I wish that her and her dad had nothing to do with the accident.
I didn't like that either. That just felt so forced. Like
you already have a built-in conflict of this guy trying to get through his phobia of cars and trying to deal with his economic jealousy of these people who they get to go to college. They get to do this stuff, you know? Like, this is what he wants to do, but he can't because of this accident caused by cars that put him in this situation. But they hand wave away, all that stuff goes away because we have to deal with this conflict with Junko and her dad. And it's like, that is so much less interesting to me. Like, it would have been cooler if it was like completely unrelated and he had to like slowly warm up to the whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
the whole dad being the one responsible for the accident really felt like the author was running out of ideas, and that's like a year like the Reese kind of plot. But it's like, dude, you're on like chapter 6 and you're already bringing this up. Yeah. I think the big thing is I really think the beg, borrow, and steal element was really fun, and I would have loved to have seen that more. Where it's about, you know, these are smart people, these are engineers, they can build a car, but how are they also smart in the ways of scrappiness? How are they negotiating deals? How are they getting parts? You know, and that there's a lot of really fun elements. Maybe they even recruit people and use their specialty and be like, oh, I'll help you with this project if you help me with this. You know, maybe they have someone who's like a programmer or the driver, but it's just like they say they're scrappy, but then they never really show how scrappy they are except for that one chapter.
Yeah, the other characters on the team aren't really, we don't know what they do. I think one of the guys is good at weather.
One guy practices driving and then never drives.
Yeah. one guy plays PSP.
That's his driving practice. He says
driving practice.
Well, I wish that we would have seen more of the pitfalls, because they do a really quick turnaround from the we're building the car to, oh, now we're suddenly racing. And it's just like, I think I would have loved to have seen, hey, we tried this with the car. Oh, but you know what? We tried it on this one track and it just didn't work out that way. Or, oh man, we almost, I mean, to be fair, the fire does almost kind of do this, but I wish they would have done this more in in terms of the practice. Like, oh man, such a strange reference, but I guess it's appropriate here. I wish we would have gotten that Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift segment where we see that Shota's constantly like bumping into stuff or constantly like flipping the car or like or not being efficient with the battery. And it's like, I know that I guess maybe the author felt that showcasing that type of tension in the end race was a better idea, but I feel like because the race was only like 5 miles per hour, I feel like that was a poor choice on their part.
I guess it's just really easy to drive a solar car.
And that's the thing I find funny about that, because that seemed to be the opposite because of the way when they first introduced Shota to the car and showing it off to him, they're like, oh, well, it's going to be really weird because you're almost completely laying down flat and having to like kind of look down, like your view is going to be kind of vaguely obscured, as you're driving. I was like, oh, that's going to be something that's going to, kind of play into this later. Nope, never does.
Shota, who makes a point of saying he's never driven a car before and is explicitly terrified of them. No, he's fine. He can do it.
He also like he drives a car a lot and then he goes back to being afraid of cars.
Yeah.
That part.
Listener, you have to understand just how good this art is, that we still overall kind of liked this series, even though we've had so many negative things to say about it. The art does so much heavy lifting, and the art is like an Olympic weightlifter.
It's got a weight belt on.
Yeah.
Like, the art, not only does the art do heavy lifting, it can lift that weight, is the thing.
Because that's the thing, is like reading this, like I was just going through chapters, even they didn't feel like 45 page chapters either, because the art made it such a and that's why it's like I don't know. Do you guys have more where it could have gone? Should we get in the miscellaneous spots?
How about you structure it where the first day of the race there isn't fucking rain, and then the second day there's rain for like half of it.
I was gonna say, and it clears up, and then it's like Tokyo Drift at the end.
Yeah, like, dude, come on. Like,
also, why were the cars that battery died were just like out of the race now? Because wouldn't they also be back in the race if they're getting recharged by the sunlight?
They do at the very end.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah. But it's too late.
Yeah.
By the time they get back in the race, they've been out of commission just long enough that Shota's able to basically lap them. It's like,
I also like how somehow they're off the track when they lose battery, so they don't have to like drive around these disabled cars.
It's like we got just enough juice to scoot over to the side.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
how-
that could be a rule, right?
maybe, but I don't know. It seems a little contrived in my opinion. Like,
Yeah, but you know what isn't contrived is miscellaneous thoughts. So let's do that, friends.
Mhm.
all right.
So I guess one of the main characters having the last name Honda was completely irrelevant. I
No,
really
it's
thought-
just a Japanese last
I
name,
I
David.
genuinely thought that was going to come up at some point.
The last page. Oh, by the way, my grandfather runs Honda. Like,
Probably could have been useful to us, you know, when we were like, I don't know, dead ass broke and didn't have any
Nah.
money.
Imagine if all of them had last names that were car companies and they have like an exchange student who joins them. Is Ford.
Oh my god.
That would have been the funniest fucking thing.
we have an exchange student
From Detroit.
from Italy, Giovanni Ferrari.
Yeah.
You know, like
God.
Hey, let me call my uncle real quick and I'll see if he can like overnight us these parts that we need.
Oh, thank you so much, Kobe Mitsubishi.
Oh man, that's so crazy.
Actually, that would have been fucking hilarious.
my name is Honda Toyota.
Right?
All of them. It's like how the Naked Gun, the new reboot, all of them are the sons of the characters from the original movie, and all
Really?
of them have the exact same motive of trying to prove they can go on their own from their big family, and it's like very blatant nepotism the entire time, and they're just
That's-
shitting
oh,
on
yes.
nepotism.
That's actually really
That would have
funny.
been fucking hilarious. Because I mean, solar cars are such a low stakes. That's like, sure, fuck off and do that. I don't care.
He's like, my dad died in a car accident, which is ironic because he changed his name from Lamborghini.
Yeah. God damn it.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm half Italian.
yes, Tom Chrysler. I don't know how you managed to drive the car so
Oh,
good.
my! I have to like call my dad's old friend Schwartz Volkswagen. Don't ask what his
Right?
father was doing in 1945.
There's a Tesla guy, and he also doesn't want to say what he thinks about Germany in 1945.
It's like, hey, isn't your wait, aren't you like the illegitimate son of Elon Musk or something like that? Like, it's
Oh,
like,
just because my name is XJ26 doesn't mean Elon Musk is my father. It is, but that doesn't mean it was.
you know what that could be? That could be the guy from the Naked Gun reboot trailer, like the one black guy who's like, he looks up at the O.J. Simpson.
Dude, I fucking lost it.
I didn't see the trailer.
You gotta
Is
see
there
the
really
trailer.
a guy
It's
who's
so-
like O.J. Simpson's son?
All of them are like, Dad, I'm going to do this for you, but it's every single character in the movie. So it's like an entire long hallway of just portraits of the old characters, except the last is the black guy. His dad was, OJ, and he just stares at the camera and shakes his head.
He's like, nah.
That gave me so much confidence in this movie.
Oh my god.
It's like, they understand the assignment.
Yeah. Also, his bike keeps getting fucked up. I think he goes through like 5 bicycles in this series.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was really strange. That was like such a strange plot point.
What if he had to pedal the car after it loses battery, and that's how he won? Because none of the other drivers have any cardiovascular. And
So wait a minute. I think you're on to something
Yeah.
because I'm not going to hold you. I think that would have okay, hear me out. If the other 2 cars that were in front, if their batteries would have died and they had to pedal and then his died too. But yeah, you know what? Honestly, man, that actually would have made this more interesting. It would have actually made it a more high stakes story.
God, it's like, did you guys see Talladega Nights?
Yeah.
I actually haven't, no.
The very end, their cars all break down. They get out and they start racing, and then so they have a foot race. But then they're like, yeah, so it's super against the rules to get out of your car and start running the
Right.
racetrack, so you're all disqualified.
Oh my god. He says in the first chapter, they're like, oh, his bike is the only thing that he cares about. And then his bike is destroyed.
He's like,
He's
oh,
like,
whatever.
whatever.
And he's like, I
Yeah,
scrapped my
sucks.
bike to improve the car.
Whatever, Like,
I will say, if his bike would not have gotten busted so many times, I almost would have appreciated that scene a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because it would have been like, oh, this is a genuine sacrifice. He could get the bike fixed, but no, yeah, this is a whole part of the beg, borrow, and steal thing. But like, it doesn't do anything with it.
this is my dad's bike given to me by his friend Jack Schwinn.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a famous bicycle person. I don't recognize the name.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
Schwinn is a brand of bike.
Also, MaxDB says, as this was drawn by Yusuke Murata, I just want to quickly acknowledge that his Mega Man boss designs for Dust Man in Mega Man 4 and Crystal Man in Mega Man 5.
I didn't know that. Holy shit.
He was
Oh, wow.
12 when he won that competition twice.
So awesome.
Absolutely built different from an artist perspective.
Fuck yeah. You know what? Those are kind of dope designs.
They are.
I love
Yes.
Dustman's design.
All right, did you guys have
Dude.
any miscellaneous thoughts?
Oh, man. you would kind of going back to the earlier thing that was mentioned earlier with the main character. I actually was kind of disappointed that we didn't get more shouting of the name Kaneda in this.
Oh, Canada.
I'm actually shocked. We didn't get more of that. I feel it was a missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity to not have one of the competitors in the final race be Tetsuo.
Canada!
Yeah!
Yeah.
Do they not understand brand synergy? Did they not get it? Do they not understand how you do this?
Like, it's not that that's just a Japanese name. You could have only. It's like I talked about how when I saw that the creator of Dark Souls' name is Miyazaki, and I'm like, I wonder if they're related.
It's not John Dark Souls.
Okay, I was like, I wonder if they're related. And it turns out no, Miyazaki is just a Japanese
It's like
name.
there's a very prolific artist with the last name Kojima that also worked for Konami.
I think they worked on Suikoden for a long time. I thought Hideo Kojima worked on Suikoden.
Yeah.
No, he did not. But yeah, also something that's interesting is that this is actually what solar cars look like.
Yeah. That's the only thing that researcher did was send them an actual picture of a solar car.
This is what a solar car looks like.
They were like, shut up, nerd.
Yeah, basically. Also, solar cars have suspensions. Thanks.
Yeah.
And they can't drive very well when it's raining.
I'm still loving that idea that the battery, it says time for manual mode, and it just starts, and just bikes. You just pedal power to recharge the battery. God, that would have been
He kicks off the bottom and starts running like Fred Flintstone.
Yeah. Okay.
That would have been amazing.
But you know what's amazing is we have to get in final verdict because we got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
All right.
Tucker, the car is real powered by Durama.
Hey.
Maxi B, sunlight is best disinfectant for flop. Armored Queen, solar powered car fumbles for loss. .jpeg. Or a Paladin, Murata's art can't save uncharged plot. I actually disagree. Diego, where's my goddamn solar car, Bruce? That's a reference to, of course, Harley Quinn, which is fucking love that show. Dragon ED said technically a romance but lacks punch. Dude Rocks should have been more about solar cars. Captain Clueless, cars powered by sunlight, yellow overdrive.
I get that reference.
Portal Man, still better than a Cybertruck.
True.
Just give me solar car racing already. And Smubby says, because cars killed my father, okay?
Yeah.
Fucking just remembering 29 cars on Mars from that crazy JoJo book. And then, Blurt, what was yours?
Mine was cloudy with a chance of winning.
Fuck. And I said Blurt by accident. I'm just thinking it somehow went from Blurt to Blart to Blurt. So
Paul
sorry,
Blurt.
Blurt. Paul Blurt. Okay. But that's a really good one. Jordan, how about yours?
Driving slowly to avoid bumpy roads, because, yeah.
I also love the lore drop that your father's name is Mike. He named you Jordan.
My father's name is Michael. I'm Jordan. Together, we're Michael Jordan.
I love it.
I was born during the three-peat.
You're like, I cannot take Harry Potter seriously because at no point anyone ever says, man, the Bulls are having a hell of a run right now, despite being in 1996. Anyway, I had two, so I'm curious which one you guys like better. Plot, battery emptied before final lap, and beg, borrow, and steal an ending.
Oh man,
I feel like I had some sauce with those. What do you think, Jordan? Jordan's like, nah, they're okay.
They're like
Okay, well, thank you
No,
for at least pretending that I had a good one.
I like the beg, borrow, and steal.
No, I'm kidding. I like plot, battery empty before final lap. There you go. That's pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
The other one's pretty good too. I was Googling three-peat to make sure that I got the years right.
Okay, thank you, Jordan, for the amount of attention you paid during this recording. It's okay. All right.
I was born during the three-peat. Hell yeah.
Jordan's legal name is Michael Jordan.
It fits.
Speaking of winners, I've got to say this was not a flop.
Oh, this is real tough for me.
This is maybe one of the worst series I'd say not a flop, but this is like bottom of B tier.
I kind of agree with you entirely because the art is so fantastic.
And it wasn't painful to read.
No.
Yeah.
It's tough. I would not begrudge you for saying it's a flop.
You are not banned from the show if you're scared.
No, it's I think that starting it out, it was a flop. By the time I got midway through it, I warmed up to it. I would say it's right there at the edge of being a flop.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if maybe there's a couple of things that would have edged up a little bit more, but it's literally just it's like its head, its face is just barely outside of the deep murky waters of flop, just barely before drowning.
It's got a little bamboo straw that it's snorkel.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That it's using to breathe.
That Murata is clearly holding.
Again, the art's doing all this weight, but it's winning the world's strongest man competition. It can fucking hold it with one hand. It's
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, because we said this is not a flop, I guess we don't have to recommend anything, which is great.
Yeah. Is this better or worse than Chainsaw Man, David?
This is the art's better than Chainsaw.
Yeah, you know what? That's kind of fair.
I will give you that. I will totally concede that.
Bro, Fujimoto cannot draw fucking shoes for his god every single time. We're like, dude, he cannot draw shoes.
No.
Is he like the Rob Liefeld of manga?
Yeah. No, except
he
other
doesn't
elements make
hide
up for it.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. The writing is really good. So it's like...
So did you hear it's like the guy who I think it was Don, where they're like, oh, you worked under Fujimoto. Did you teach you a lot? And he's like, dude, he knows like jack shit, man. I fucking was teaching him things while I was being his assistant.
Oh, wow.
Because Fujimoto's entirely self-taught, and then he just had like a bunch of really like fucking gassed up assistants helping him.
Oh, Jesus. That makes a lot of sense.
The difference in art quality between Don and Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, and how the art quality in Chainsaw Man kind of dropped when Don started.
Yeah, that's true too.
It's like, coincidence?
It might have actually been Fire Punch he worked on. But anyway, let's get into wrap-ups. So, Paul Blart, thank you so much for being on the show. Do you mind telling the audience where they can get more of you?
You can find me primarily on YouTube, youtube.com/Blerd Without Fear. I post videos multiple times throughout the week. I live stream every Thursday and every Saturday. And yeah, I just talk about comics. I usually do like a best comics this week thing every week where I pick out 5 comics that I really loved, do quick little overviews of them, tell you why you should like them. I do deep dives into certain comics, and I also like to do retrospectives on comics from yesteryear and even some more recent stuff. So yeah.
Do you keep up with anything in Shonen Jump?
I do not, but I have considered it. I actually have considered it.
I was going to say, I feel like it'd be really fun if you read and you could say, like, what your favorite chapter... That's actually something that's big in our Discord, is people will, like, talk about, like, what was chapter of the week from Shonen Jump, which is always fun.
I might consider that. I bet, like, because I do read a lot of manga, just that, I read so much stuff that sometimes I just get, like, I get stun locked on stuff.
It's hard, especially when you're creating so much content, so...
Yeah.
Let me know if you're ever interested. We can circle back, and I can at least tell you what I think in Shonen Jump is actually worth reading right now.
Chainsaw Man, that's...
Chainsaw Man is not in Shonen Jump, Jordan.
It was in Shonen Jump.
Yes, but it's not actively published in Shonen Jump.
But if you haven't read Chainsaw Man, then you're reading a lot of it that was in Shonen Jump.
Okay, well, despite Jordan's best efforts, I still want to say props to Jordan for making the opening ending theme, being a great co-host, and helping with the editing.
Thank you, David, for everything that you do on the show.
I like how I spell out what Jordan does, and Jordan's like, yeah, and you help too.
You help, because you do, like, a lot more than that, David.
Yeah, I do a lot of it.
You do a lot more than what you laid out, so I just thanks for everything.
I'm just fucking credit cucking Jordan.
Thanks for everything else.
Thanks. Okay, also props to Merlyle for the awesome cover art. Find her online at Lyle Murr and Nigel for being our generous art benefactor. I'm looking forward to seeing him soon. Thanks to Dylan for assistance with editing. You can find his podcast Anime Out of Context at animeoutofcontext.com, where we just had them on. Thanks to Tucker and Maxi B for assistance with pronunciation, translation, and other miscellaneous research. Find us on Blue Sky /X at Shonen Flop, Tumblr Shonen-Flop, our website shonenflop.com, or on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever else you get your podcasts. And as we talked about, join the Shonen Flop Discord. It's open to everyone. Hang out with us, talk about anime, games, whatever else is on your mind. We actually have a few Eisner Award winners in the Discord, which is really cool.
We do.
Hang out with us, talk about anime, games, whatever else is on your mind. We have a manga book club and movie nights. You can find a link to it in the show notes or on our site, shonenflop.com. And then, Jordan, now's the time to talk about that little art thing you do, that guitar thing you do, and that podcast thing you do.
Well, I am
Too slow. We're out of time. Let's keep going.
Okay.
All right.
Well, you can find my oil paintings on at Jordan Forbes Art on Instagram. You could hear my podcast about vampires, which maybe it'll be updated sometime in the next 5 years, called Mission Ignition. And then, I also teach guitar, but I'm not offering lessons at the moment.
Oh.
But, I'm also doing that.
Nice. Yeah. And then, also, I want to say I love my wife. She's the best, even though we were trying to diet, but she got us ice cream cake. And also my adorable dog, Puppuccino Ravioli, where she stuck her head into the shower while I was showering, and I stuck my tongue out at her, and she started sticking her tongue out at me, and it was like really weird, but she never will do it again after that. It was like a weird moment we had.
Oh, also, thank you so much to my lovely girlfriend, Steph, who helps me every day. Also, you know what? If you are interested in guitar lessons, actually, let me know. I don't know. Yeah, sure.
Blerd, is there anyone in your life you want to thank for some random reason on this show?
This is a
shout out to my lovely wife Cynthia,
Aw.
who is just super sweet and understanding, and made me coffee this morning.
That's so sweet.
She knows what keeps me going, and I guess also shout out to my lovely child Cersei, who is also very
Aw.
How old's your
supportive and getting ready to be 10.
Whoa.
So yeah.
We've had a few guests. You're like 5 or 6, I think, that have had kids, which is awesome. And again, I've banned from naming my child, so we'll see how that goes.
Finally, I do also want to say a podcast I was on was recently released. The Fandoms podcast with Brody Otway, who we've had on the show before.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's the Fandoms podcast. You can find it on shows.acast.com/fandoms.
Sounds good to me. Brody's great. Friend of the show.
Yeah, Brody's awesome.
And let's get into sign off. Thank you so much for joining us. Tune in next Monday as we give our first thoughts on bow speeds. This has been David.
This has been Jordan.
This has been Blerd Without Fear.
And you've been listening to Shonen Flop. Ooh, you used your full name. I love it.
Oh, keep on flopping, floppers.
Yeah.
Bye.